One of the most powerful and weird frugal living moves the author made was downsizing their home. Housing is usually the largest monthly expense for most people, often taking up 25 to 40% of income. By consciously choosing a smaller, more affordable space, the author freed up a significant amount of money that could be saved or invested for early retirement. The decision to downsize wasn't just about cost. It was about challenging the cultural expectation that bigger is always better. Many people buy the largest house they can afford, thinking it reflects success, but they often overlook the hidden costs that come with it: higher mortgage payments, increased property taxes, bigger utility bills, costly maintenance, and more time spent cleaning and repairing. By contrast, moving into a smaller home brought the author a double benefit: drastically lower living expenses and less time and energy spent managing a large property. The process started by evaluating needs versus wants. Instead of focusing on the dream house idea, the author made a list of essential living requirements: enough space for comfortable living, a safe neighborhood, and proximity to necessities like groceries and healthcare. The rest, extra rooms, luxury finishes, and expansive lawns, was deemed unnecessary. This mindset shift made it easier to choose a home that was practical rather than status-driven. Downsizing also aligned with a minimalist lifestyle. With less space, there was less temptation to buy unnecessary furniture, decor, and gadgets. The author even sold extra belongings during the move, turning clutter into cash and further boosting savings. Financially, the impact was huge. Mortgage or rent payments dropped significantly. Utility bills went down due to heating and cooling a smaller area, and maintenance costs were a fraction of what they used to be. These savings were redirected into investments and retirement accounts, allowing wealth to grow faster. In essence, every dollar not spent on an oversized home became a building block toward financial independence. Interestingly, the move also improved quality of life. The smaller home encouraged a simpler, cozier living environment. With less cleaning and upkeep, there was more free time for hobbies, relationships, and travel. It also reduced financial stress. Knowing that housing costs were well within affordable limits, something that's especially important for long-term stability in retirement. Some people might view downsizing as a downgrade, but for the author, it was a strategic upgrade in life satisfaction. The money saved accelerated their retirement timeline by several years, and the lifestyle benefits: reduced clutter, more freedom, and lower stress proved priceless. In the end, downsizing housing wasn't just about cutting costs. It was about breaking free from the cycle of earn more to spend more and creating a life where financial freedom and happiness took priority over square footage. It's a clear example of how thinking differently about major expenses can open the door to early retirement. One of the author's most effective yet unconventional frugal living habits was embracing the second-hand lifestyle. Instead of automatically buying brand new products, they made it a rule to first check if the item could be purchased used often, at a fraction of the cost and with the same functionality. This applied to everything from furniture and electronics to clothing, kitchen appliances, books, and even tools. The motivation wasn't just about saving money. It was also about avoiding waste and making more intentional purchases. In today's consumer culture, products are often discarded long before they lose their usefulness. People upgrade to the latest models or change decor trends, leaving behind perfectly good items. By tapping into this waste stream through thrift stores, online marketplaces, garage sales, and community swaps, the author could find high-quality goods for 30 to 80% less than retail prices. For example, instead of buying a brand new couch for thousands of dollars, they found a gently used one for under $200. Clothing, especially formal or special occasion wear, was often purchased secondhand at a fraction of its original price. Even big-ticket items like kitchen appliances or exercise equipment could be found barely used, sometimes still under warranty. Buying secondhand also allowed the author to maintain a comfortable lifestyle without falling into the trap of lifestyle inflation, the tendency to spend more as income increases. This habit freed up hundreds of dollars each month, which were redirected into investments and savings, accelerating their path to early retirement. Another benefit was the ability to buy higher quality items than they could have afforded new. For instance, a solid wood dining table bought secondhand might cost less than a flimsy, mass-produced one bought brand. This meant purchases lasted longer, reducing the frequency and cost of replacements. The author also noted the environmental impact. By reusing items, they were reducing demand for new manufacturing, which in turn lessened waste and resource consumption. This made their frugality feel purposeful, aligning financial goals with eco-friendly values. To make secondhand shopping successful, the author developed a system. They set alerts on resale apps for specific items, regularly checked local thrift stores, and weren't afraid to negotiate prices. They also made a point to inspect items carefully before purchasing, ensuring they were in good working condition or could be repaired affordably. The social perception of buying used didn't bother them. In fact, it became a point of pride. Friends often complimented their home decor or clothing, only to be surprised when they learned these items were This reinforced the idea that quality and style don't have to come with a high price tag. In the long run, buying second-hand became more than a money-saving tactic. It was a lifestyle choice that supported minimalism, environmental responsibility, and financial independence. By resisting the pressure to always buy new, the author not only spent less but also gained a sense of satisfaction from making thoughtful, sustainable choices. Cooking in bulk became one of the author's most valuable, frugal living habits, saving both money and time while also reducing stress around daily meals. Rather than cooking small portions every day, a process that often leads to more frequent grocery shopping, impulse spending, and food waste, they adopted a batch cooking approach. This meant preparing large quantities of meals at once, then storing them for the week or even freezing portions for future use. The financial savings came from two main areas: buying ingredients in bulk and avoiding expensive convenience foods. Bulk purchases such as 10-pound bags of rice, family-sized packs of chicken, or large cans of beans are typically cheaper per unit. Since the author planned meals ahead, they could shop strategically, stock up during sales, and avoid last-minute takeout. Over time, this added up to hundreds of dollars saved each month. Another major benefit was reducing food waste. When cooking daily without a plan, it's easy for perishable ingredients to spoil before they're used. With bulk cooking, every ingredient is allocated to a planned recipe, ensuring nothing is forgotten at the back of the fridge. Leftovers are also built into the plan, so they're eaten instead of discarded. The process itself became a weekly routine. On one designated cooking day, often Sunday, the author would prepare several different meals that shared overlapping ingredients. For example, roasting a large tray of vegetables could serve as a side for one dinner, a topping for salads, and in addition to soups, a big pot of beans could be used in chili, tacos, and wraps. By planning this way, they minimized effort while maximizing variety. Freezer storage played a key role. Soups, stews, casseroles, and cooked grains freeze well so the author could make enough for several weeks at a time. This meant that even during busy periods, they had healthy, home-cooked meals ready to go. No need to rely on expensive and unhealthy takeout. Beyond the cost savings, cooking in bulk freed up mental energy. Instead of wondering what's for dinner every night, meals were already prepared or only required quick reheating. This reduced decision fatigue and made it easier to stick to a healthy diet. Another long-term benefit of the habit. Socially, it also became an opportunity for connection. Sometimes the author would cook with friends or family, splitting the work and ingredients, then dividing the meals. This not only saved even more money but also turned meal prep into a fun, social activity. From a frugal living perspective, bulk cooking checked all the boxes. It minimized costs, maximized efficiency, reduced waste, and provided better control over nutrition. Most importantly, it freed up more time to focus on activities that brought joy. An essential part of early retirement happiness. By consistently preparing meals in advance, the author avoided one of the biggest money drains for many households: unplanned food spending. What started as a cost-cutting measure turned into a lifestyle habit that supported both financial independence and overall well-being. Adopting a minimalist wardrobe was another key frugal living strategy that helped the author retire early and live happier. Rather than constantly buying new clothes to follow fleeting trends or fill gaps, they chose to carefully curate a small, versatile collection of clothing items that fit well, looked good, and could be mixed and matched for various occasions. The minimalist wardrobe approach directly challenged the common consumer mindset that more is better. Many people feel pressure to keep up with fashion, buying clothes impulsively, or replacing items prematurely. This often leads to One of the less obvious but highly effective frugal living habits the author adopted was consciously avoiding costly social obligations. Social events like dinners, parties, weddings, and outings can quickly drain finances, especially when accompanied by expectations of expensive gifts, fancy attire, or frequent attendance. By reevaluating their participation in such events, the author was able to save a significant amount of money and reduce financial stress. This strategy began with a mindset shift, understanding that it's okay to say no to social invitations without guilt. The author recognized that their true friends and family valued their presence and well-being more than obligatory attendance or costly displays. They prioritized quality interactions over quantity, choosing to engage in meaningful gatherings that fit both their budget and values. Instead of attending every event, the author developed a system to evaluate invitations. They asked themselves, is this event important to my close relationships? Can I afford the time and money without stress? Will my presence make a positive difference? If the answer was no, they politely declined. This approach avoided spreading themselves too thin financially and emotionally. Additionally, the author found creative ways to maintain social connections without breaking the bank. For example, hosting potlucks at home where everyone contributes a dish proved much cheaper than dining out. Outdoor activities like hiking, picnics, or walking meets offered enjoyable low-cost alternatives. These options fostered strong bonds without expensive price tags. Avoiding costly gifts was another part of this habit. The author shifted focus from material presents to thoughtful gestures such as handwritten notes, homemade treats, or shared experiences. This not only saved money, but also made their contributions more meaningful and memorable. This habit helped curb lifestyle inflation too. Many people increase spending to keep up with their social circles, leading to financial strain. By setting clear boundaries, the author avoided this trap and stayed on track toward early retirement goals. Financially, the impact was substantial. Money that might have gone to event tickets, fancy meals, travel, or gifts was instead saved or invested. Over time, these savings accumulated, accelerating wealth building. On an emotional level, avoiding stressful social obligations reduced anxiety and gave the author more time for self-care and hobbies. It created space for relationships that truly mattered. Rather than maintaining appearances or fulfilling social expectations, some might worry about social isolation. But the author emphasized the importance of balance. It wasn't about cutting off all social life, but about curating it thoughtfully. The quality of interactions improved, and friends appreciated the honesty and authenticity. Entertainment expenses can quietly consume a large portion of one's budget, often without much thought. The author's weird but highly effective frugal living strategy involved deliberately choosing free or low-cost entertainment options to save money, while still enjoying a fulfilling social and recreational life. Instead of routinely spending on movies, concerts, dining out, or expensive hobbies, the author explored alternative activities that cost little to nothing, but provided equal or greater enjoyment. Public parks, hiking trails, local festivals, museums with free admission days, library events, and community workshops became favorite go-to options. These activities offered not only fun, but also opportunities to learn, socialize, and connect with the local community. The author also embraced hobbies that required minimal financial investment. Reading books from the library, gardening, cooking new recipes, or learning skills through online tutorials were cost-effective ways to stay entertained and mentally engaged. This approach kept life interesting and rewarding without the need for constant spending. Streaming services replaced frequent trips to movie theaters, with the author carefully selecting a few subscriptions rather than paying for many. They also took advantage of free trials and shared accounts with family or close friends, further reducing costs. Socializing followed the same frugal principle. Instead of going to expensive restaurants or bars, gatherings often took place at home with potluck meals or simple board games. This created a cozy atmosphere and fostered deeper connections without the price tag. The habit also meant becoming more creative and mindful about entertainment choices. The author discovered the joy of simple pleasures: sunsets, walks with friends, DIY projects, and volunteering. These experiences enriched their life and often created lasting memories. Financially, the impact was significant. By cutting down on entertainment spending, the author freed up hundreds of dollars per month, which was redirected toward retirement savings and debt reduction. This consistent saving accelerated their timeline to financial independence. Choosing low-cost entertainment also reduced impulse spending and avoided the keeping-up mentality that often leads to unnecessary purchases. It cultivated gratitude for what was available and shifted focus from consumption to experience. The environmental benefits were an added bonus. Engaging in outdoor activities and reducing reliance on energy-intensive entertainment helped lower the author's carbon footprint, aligning with their values of sustainability and mindful living. Importantly, this habit did not mean sacrificing enjoyment or social life. Instead, it encouraged a richer, more intentional way of living that valued experiences and relationships over material things. In summary, opting for free or inexpensive entertainment is a practical and enjoyable, frugal living tip. It supports both financial goals and overall well-being, proving that fun doesn't have to come with a high price for those seeking early retirement and a happier life. This approach offers a sustainable path to balance enjoyment with savings. A standout, frugal habit the author embraced was the practice of repurposing and repairing items rather than immediately replacing them. In a world driven by consumerism and convenience, many people quickly discard broken or outdated possessions and opt for new purchases. The author flipped this norm on its head, viewing worn or broken items as opportunities for creativity and savings. This mindset shift began with valuing durability and functionality over novelty. Instead of rushing to buy new when something stopped working or went out of style, the author invested time and effort into fixing or adapting it, whether it was sewing a torn shirt, repairing a leaky faucet, restoring old furniture, or turning unused items into something new. The focus was on extending the life and usefulness of possessions. One key advantage of this approach was significant cost savings. Repairing or repurposing was almost always cheaper than buying new. For example, a simple sewing kit or basic tools allowed the author to mend clothes or small household items, avoiding the expensive replacements. Upcycling projects, such as turning old jars into storage containers or pallets into furniture, added value at minimal cost. This habit also reduced waste and environmental impact, aligning with the author's sustainable living values. Instead of contributing to the landfill and supporting constant production, they found joy in giving items a second life. This sense of resourcefulness contributed to a more intentional and less wasteful lifestyle. To make repairing practical, the author learned basic DIY skills through online tutorials, community workshops, and trial and error. These skills empowered them to handle common household repairs independently, saving money on professional services. When professional help was needed, it was sought only after some attempts, and always with cost-effectiveness in mind. Repurposing also sparked creativity and satisfaction. Finding new uses for old items not only saved money but made everyday living more personalized and meaningful. For instance, using vintage fabric scraps for patchwork or transforming worn-out clothes into cleaning rags gave new purpose to items that might otherwise have been discarded. Socially, this habit sometimes inspired friends and family to adopt similar practices, spreading the benefits. It fostered a mindset of valuing quality and longevity over instant gratification. Financially, the impact was substantial. Avoiding frequent replacements reduced ongoing expenses, enabling the author to funnel more resources into savings and investments. Over time, these small savings compounded, playing a key role in achieving early retirement goals. Importantly, the habit of repairing and repurposing complemented other frugal strategies, such as buying second-hand and maintaining a minimalist lifestyle. Together, these habits built a resilient, sustainable, and fulfilling approach to money management and living well on less. A fundamental and often overlooked frugal living principle that the author embraced was the conscious focus on spending money based on genuine needs rather than on appearances or social expectations. This mindset shift played a crucial role in their journey toward early retirement and greater happiness, as it helped avoid unnecessary expenses driven by external pressures or the desire to keep up with others. The author realized early on that much of their spending had been influenced by wanting to project a certain image, whether through fashion, gadgets, cars, home decor, or lifestyle choices. These purchases were often more about how others might perceive them than about actual utility or personal satisfaction. Recognizing this tendency was the first step toward regaining control over finances and making spending decisions aligned with true priorities. By